The future police badge has been bound, and the police number is 577533. A voice appeared in Han Bin's mind, playing with a police badge. This was accidentally obtained 2 days ago. It was narrower than usual and looked more unique. What's the situation? Han Bin was dazed. The future police badge was developed in 2170. It is a new type of police auxiliary equipment that can instill knowledge through brain waves and quickly learn skills. A warning badge reminded me. 2170. Isn't it 150 years from now? How can you return to modern times? Han Bin asked in surprise. An experiment accident caused the police badge to cross the parallel space. The police badge prompted. Han Bin felt unbelievable, but the hint in his mind was real. Police officer number 577,533, received a gift package for entry. The police badge prompted. Skills, footprint identification. Level, advanced function, according to the footprints, sock prints, shoe prints, etc., to find the traces and physical characteristics of the criminal suspect. There was a buzzing in the brain, and a large amount of knowledge and data were passed into the brain, like an empowerment. Han Bin felt that after a long time, he came back to his senses again, still in the office of the 3rd Criminal Investigation Team. The office is still the same, it seems that only a moment later, but a lot of knowledge of footprint identification is stored in his mind. Han Bin has understood that footprint identification is a very complex criminal investigation skill, which can only be mastered with a lot of observation, data, and experience. There are only a handful of experts who can master this skill. A man in his 30s walked into the office with a bag in his hand and saw Han Bin in a daze. "Xiao Han, are you still used to being transferred to our 3rd team?" Han Bin turned his head and looked at the Criminal Investigation Team 3 and the 2nd team leader Zhang Ping. "Pretty good. When we arrive at our Criminal Investigation Team, we may be busy in the future," Zhang Ping said. "I am prepared." Before, Han Bin was a policeman at the police station and was just transferred to the Criminal Investigation Team. When you are a policeman, you have to work as a criminal police officer when you are young. Although it is a bit harder, there are more opportunities for meritorious service, and the road for future development is broad. Zhang Ping said as someone who came over. "Yes, I will definitely study with Team Zhang in the future," Han Bin said. Zhang Ping concurrently served as the deputy captain of the 3rd Criminal Investigation Team. Da-da-da. Footsteps sounded. A policewoman in her 20s walked over quickly. "Team Zhang, Qingdao Brewery, there has been a theft." The policewoman has short hair, a beautiful appearance, a tall stature, and a capable manner. She is Tian Li from the 2nd group. "Is anyone hurt?" "No." "How much property was lost?" "A conservative estimate is more than 1 million. Call Li Hui to the scene." Zhang Ping ordered. Yes. Qingdao beer is the most well-known beer brand in China and one of the pillar industries in Qingdao City. There are several breweries in Qingdao City. Half an hour later, the 2nd group rushed to the brewery in the suburbs. This is a branch factory and its scale is not too large. At this time, the factory has already set up a cordon, and comrades at the police station are maintaining law and order. After saying hello, Zhang Ping took the 3 of them directly into the factory. "This smell is so intoxicating." Li Hui took a deep breath. "You are so greedy, letting Team Zhang see it, it must break your heart." Han Bin smiled. Zhang Kaichuan, the captain of the 3rd Criminal Investigation Team. Li Hui looked contemptuous. The 2 were classmates who graduated from the police academy. Who doesn't know who? Zhang Ping glanced at the 2 of them. "I want to drink beer, no problem, enough to solve the case." The 2 of Han Bin smirked and were not talking. Everyone who has been a police officer knows the implication of this sentence. The case has not been solved. "You two stop a bit." Zhang Ping walked to the side of a 40-year-old man with a square face and said, Lu Suo. Captain Zhang, you are here. Director Lu stretched out his hand and the two shook hands. What's the specific situation? Zhang Ping asked. At 5 o'clock in the morning, the police station received a call from the guard Zhou Jiangguo saying that there was a theft at the Qingdao brewery. We sent someone over and found that the door of the office building and the door of the financial room on the second floor were damaged and the safe was opened. If the amount is huge, it is reported. Director Lu briefly described. Are there any witnesses? No. Last night, was Zhou Jiangguo on duty? Yes, but he found no abnormalities either. Director Lu responded. Tian Li, you go check the monitoring in the factory. Li Hui, you visit the employees to see if there are other clues. Han Bin and I go to the financial room. Zhang Ping ordered. Yes. The office building is a glass door, which is easy to damage. As long as the glass near the lock is broken, the door can be opened. Fragments of glass scattered on the inside of the gate, indicating that it was broken glass from the outside, which is in line with the characteristics of breaking the door. Han Bin put on the shoe covers, avoided the glass slag, and went to the finance room on the second floor while observing. The entrance to the financial room was monitored, but it had been destroyed. The door of the financial room was pried open. The room is small, with the size of more than 10 square meters. There is a safe in the corner. The door of the cabinet is open. There is only a stack of documents in it. There is no valuables. Crowbar. Han Bin put on his gloves and picked up the crowbar to observe. Crowbars are very common and there is no obvious sign. Zhang Ping shook his head. There are so many things on the construction site. Zhang Ping squatted down and looked at the edge of the safe. This safe has a lot of pry marks. It may take a lot of time, like a novice committing crimes. Han Bin looked puzzled, prying the safe. There should be a lot of movement, but Zhou Jiangguo didn't notice it. After a while, go and see him. Zhang Ping said. Factory guard room. Zhang Ping and Han Bin went to the guard room and stood at the door to observe. The guard room is not big, with a table, a bed, a cabinet, and some miscellaneous items. An old man in his 60s is sitting at the head of the bed. Seeing the two entering the guard room, Zhou Jiangguo quickly got up. Comrade police. Zhang Ping nodded slightly, and just walked into the room with a creak at his feet. Stepped on some peanut shells. Sorry, I haven't had time to clean. Zhou Jiangguo was a little embarrassed. Zhang Ping wrinkled his nose and faintly smelled a smell of wine. This peanut and wine are a perfect match. Han Bin understood, searched the room and found a small bottle of Urquato from under the bed. Did a lot last night? Han Bin shook the bottle. Not much, not much. Zhou Jiangguo sneered. Lao Zhou, you drink beiju in this brewery, it's not authentic. Zhang Ping joked. When I was young, I also liked to drink beer. Now that I am older, I can't stand it at night. Zhou Jiangguo said. You didn't hear anything last night? No, I got up in the morning and found that the door of the office building was damaged. How many years have you been here? Zhou Jiangguo thought for a while. It's been 7 or 8 years. Have something happened before? No. Think of any clues, remember to contact us. Han Bin warned. Yes. After finishing the round, Zhang Ping and Han Bin left the guard room without any useful clues. Team Zhang, do you think the guard is suspicious? The guard room is nearly 100 meters away from the office building. Zhou Jiangguo is getting older and his hearing is degraded. Drinking more wine will definitely make things wrong. Zhang Ping paused and continued, of course, this is just speculation, and he cannot be completely ruled out. Zhou Jiangguo, the guard, is a bit incompetent. Han Bin said. He is an elderly man who earns 2,000 yuan a month. It's okay to look at the door. Do you really expect him to catch the thief? Zhang Ping looked like he was not surprised. Tian Li came over, Team Zeng, there are a total of 5 surveillances in the factory, including the factory gate, parking lot, and factory building. No suspects were photographed. The surveillance in front of the office building and the entrance to the financial room were destroyed. Zheng Ping thought for a moment. In the office building, are there signs of theft in other departments? No. This suspect, who knows the location of the camera and heads directly at the financial room, should be someone familiar with the terrain. Could it be an insider who committed the crime? Han Bin guessed. Team Zeng, this found some footprints. Li Hui shouted while standing near the wall. A group of people walked near the fence. This is a clearing. Some flowers and plants were planted before, but now it is deserted. On the muddy ground, a group of footprints can be clearly seen, coming from the root of the wall. Tian Li lowered her head and took a look. Li Hui, do you think this set of footprints belong to the suspect? Li Hui shrugged his shoulders. I won't come in over the wall anyway. Tian Li rolled his eyes. The surveillance at the gate did not find the suspect. The other party should have come in over the wall. Han Bin saw this set of footprints and the knowledge about footprint identification immediately came to mind, like a chef, seeing fresh ingredients. Han Bin, you squatted on the ground and watched for a long time. Do you have any thoughts about this set of footprints? Li Hui smiled. The two are classmates from the police academy and have known each other for many years and have a good relationship. Han Bin knew that the other party had a bad mouth, and directly ignored. This set of footprints should be left by the suspect. Oh, tell me what you think. Zheng Ping asked. This set of footprints was not covered. It should have been left for a while, and extended to the wall, especially under the wall roots. There is a pair of footprints that are very heavy. They should have been stepped over the wall and stepped on. Han Bin analyzed. Other places are paved with bricks and stones. Jumping from here can act as a buffer. Zheng Ping nodded. Han Bin pointed to the shoe print and continued, shoe size 42, rubber-soled Jafang shoes, zigzag pattern, pattern sealing, symmetrical, and heat transfer holes in the heel. This kind of Jafang shoes are wear-resistant and dirt-resistant. Many workers like to wear them. It is difficult to find people with shoes. Li Hui said. The clues left by shoe prints are far more than these. Han Bin stood up. Any clue? Li Hui asked. I estimate that the suspect is a male, about 42 years old, about 1.74 in height, and a little hunched. Han Bin talked freely. How did you know? Tian Li was puzzled. Han Bin pointed to the footprints on the ground. With just a few footprints, can you see so many things? Li Hui didn't believe it. Han Bin, do you know footprint identification? Zheng Ping guessed. Understand a little. Han Bin nodded. A person's foot length and body length are in a certain ratio. Knowing the length of the footprints can tell the approximate height. What about the age? Can this also be revealed from the footprints? Tian Li said. The judgment of age is more complicated. It is necessary to conduct a comprehensive analysis based on foot shape, stride characteristics, gait characteristics, etc., which involves step angle, step width, step length, lifting weight, indentation, lifting marks, and pedaling. Marks, tread marks, dig marks, etc. Han Bin took it in his hand, as if the knowledge was engraved in his mind. Han Bin, you're pulling a lot of it, and it's confusing me, can you just keep it simple? Li Hui was a little confused. The simplest and most common method for judging is the indentation method. Indentation is closely related to gender, age, height, body shape, etc. The younger the age, the more forward the forefoot pressure surface, the older the forefoot pressure. Face back and move outward. Han Bin said, squatting down, look at this footprint, the forefoot pressure is moved outwards and backwards, the indentation is light in front and heavy in the back, light in the inside and heavy in the outside, and the area of heel pressure is large and obvious. Picks and scratches are often seen. According to my experience, it is about 4 around 12 years old. Then how do you know that the suspect is hunched? Tian Li asked. This involves the physiological characteristics of the human trunk. When viewed from the side upright, the head and neck fall straight on the shoulders, and the curvature of the spine should be within the normal range. Once it exceeds the normal range, it is a hunchback. Walking posture and the center of gravity of the soleus will be affected. Han Bin said. How do you tell from the footprints? The main basis is the analysis of the relationship between the intersection of the forefoot dashed dotted line and the center line of the footprint. The back point is on the center line, which is a normal person's torso. The bigger the outside, the bigger the hunchback. Han Bin is a masterful student. What is the intersection of dotted lines? Li Hui still didn't understand. Han Bin, you are too professional, where did you learn it? Tian Li recalled. When she went to the police academy, she seemed to have never learned such advanced knowledge. Believe it or not is one thing. Just listening to these terms makes you feel pretty awesome. I have recently read some information on footprint identification, and some experience. Han Bin said perfunctorily. Zhang Ping shook his head slightly. Footprint identification is a very complicated subject. There are no systematic learning books yet, and it requires a lot of observation, data, and experience. It is really so easy to learn. He learned it early. Not to mention their criminal investigation team, even the entire Shandong Provincial Public Security Bureau, there may not be a few people who can understand this skill. You are a young man. After reading some information, you dare to say what you learned? Joke. Team Zheng is wise, Han Bin, this kid, has nothing to do with things, you just listen to it, don't take it seriously. Li Hui smiled, looking like he was tearing down the stage, but in fact, he was justifying Han Bin. You can be held responsible for providing false or wrong clues. Han Bin's analysis and the prediction of the suspect's height, age, and hunchback are not included in the clue investigation for the time being, but it can be used as a reference. If you meet someone who meets the conditions, you can question it. Zhang Ping said. Cough. Han Bin cleared his throat. This was the first time he had used the skills of the future police badge. It was not reliable and he had no idea. At this moment, a middle-aged man hurriedly walked over. Hello Captain Zheng, I am the director of Qingdao Brewery, Wu Mingyang. Director Wu, I was just about to ask you something. Wu Mingyang handed over a cigarette, you said. No more smoke, don't destroy the scene. Yab. Director Wu, what was the amount you stolen? Zhang Ping asked. A check for 800,000 yuan, and more than 300,000 yuan in cash. How many people are there in your factory? More than 200 people. Wu Mingyang was taken aback for a moment. Why are you asking about this? From the current clues, the suspect is very familiar with the brewery. We suspect that it may be an employee of the brewery or had worked in the brewery before. Zhang Ping briefly described the situation. Director Wu, is there a lot of staff turnover in your factory? Han Bin asked. A lot. Just this year, more than a dozen people have left, all of them temporary workers. A total of more than 200 employees, plus those who have left, it is very difficult to investigate. Tian Li sighed. Zhang Ping frowned. This situation is indeed a bit tricky. Once it drags on for a long time, the suspect will dispose of the stolen cash, tools, and shoes for the crime, which may cause the chain of evidence to be missing and the case cannot be finalized. Director Wu, is there anyone with a hunchback in your factory? Han Bin hugged a hint of expectation. Director Wu said without hesitation, yes. Why do you remember so clearly? Wu Mingyang touched his chin. Last week, a male employee left his job and he was hunched. How old is that person? It looks like he's in his early 40s. How high? Similar to me, about 1.74 meters. Wu Mingyang gestured. Immediately, the surroundings fell silent. Male, hunched back, 42 years old, and height 174, is this the appearance of the suspect that Han Bin judged through footprint identification? Zhang Ping, Tian Li, and Li Hui were all stunned. This is too awesome. Team Zhang, I suggest that this person should be the focus of investigation. Han Bin is full of confidence. Okay. Zhang Ping replied, Director Wu, do you know the name and address of this person? Hey, I really can't remember this, I can only go to the personnel department. I want all his information, the more detailed the better. I'm going now. Wu Mingyang hurried away. Okay, Han Bin, when the suspect is caught, I will give you the first credit. Zhang Ping stretched out his hand and patted him on the shoulder. This is everyone's credit. Han Bin smiled. You little cow, with a set of footprints, you can determine the physical characteristics of the suspect. If you need a camera in the future, you will be enough. Li Hui joked. Li Hui was also a little puzzled, how long hasn't seen him since then, how this kid has become so powerful. Han Bin is also a little excited. The knowledge of footprint identification instilled by the police badge in the future is indeed true, and he has made a lot of money this time. Ding dong, this is the first time to use footprint skills in a case. Skill proficiency is +1, and merit points are rewarded by 2. Han Bin's mind sounded a warning sound. What is the merit value? Han Ping was a little puzzled. The merit value can be exchanged for new skills. What new skills are there? Han Bin asked curiously. Fighting, micro-expression analysis, anti-pickling tracking. More hidden skills, you need to consume merit points to view. The police badge prompted. These skills are possessed by a criminal policeman, Han Bin wants to learn them, and he can't make up his mind for a while. At this time, the case is being investigated, Han Bin can only put it down first, wait until the investigation is over, and then study carefully. The director Wu Mingyang quickly found the suspect's information. Name, Lin Chongsheng. Nationality, Han. Age, 42 years old. Height, 174 centimeters. Features, strong body, hunched back. Family status, wife and son. Address, Qingdao City, from Ziahe village. Judging by Han Bin's speculation from his footprints, Lin Chongsheng was suspected of committing the crime, and Zhang Ping immediately took people to Ziahe village to arrest him. Tian Li, call Zhao Ming and ask him to go to the bureau to apply for a search warrant and a warrant, and meet us in Ziahe village. Yes. Zhao Ming is also a police officer in the second group and is on leave today. Ziahe village is not far away, about a 20-minute drive. Bring 2 police station policemen who are familiar with the local situation to assist in the arrest. The group entered Ziahe village and went to the village committee to find out the situation. The village chief Wang Jingxi went to Lin Changshen's home and asked the villagers about the situation. Zhang Ping led the people to implement control at Lin Changshen's home. Not long after, the village chief rushed back, Captain Zheng, I understand everything clearly. Is Lin Chongsheng at home? A neighbor saw him. He came back from the outside early this morning and is now at home. The village chief said. Time fits. However, I just took a look, Lin Changshen's house is closed. In the countryside, there is very little information about the door in broad daylight. Lin Chongsheng sees it as a guilty conscience. Li Hui hummed. Zhang Ping thought for a while, Mr. Wang, I will trouble you for a while and call for us to open the door. Row. Woo. At this moment, a BMW X5 drove over and stopped beside a few people. In the car, a man in his early 20s came down. It was Zhao Ming from the 3rd team of the criminal investigation team. Damn, you guys can do it, you just came in a BMW. Li Hui looked envious. I'm afraid I won't be able to make it, so I drove my car here. Zhao Ming pressed the car lock. Tisk tisk, it's no wonder that your kid is usually lavish, he turned out to be a rich second generation. Li Hui patted the front of the car and muttered, it's great. Don't talk about those useless. Zheng Ping waved his hand, Zhao Ming, have you brought the search warrant and the warrant? Brought it. Action. Boom boom boom. There was a knock on the door. Who is it? My Wang Jingxi. Hey, the village chief, why are you here? You brought so many people. A middle-aged woman opened the door with a surprised look. Chen Wan, this is a comrade from the criminal police squad. Ask your husband to find out something. Wang Jingxi introduced. Interpol team? What do you know about my Lao Lin? Chen Wan was a little flustered. This is a search warrant. Zheng Ping showed the search warrant and directly led people in. Hey, what are you doing, Lao Lin, Lao Linier? The woman hurriedly shouted. A somewhat humpbacked man walked out of the house. Who are you? What are you doing here? We are the police. We suspect that you are related to a theft case. Please assist in the investigation. Han Bin showed the police officer ID. Comrade police, did you make a mistake? How could our old Lin be a criminal? Chen Wan asked loudly. Police officer, are you making a mistake? You can't frame good people. Lin Chongsheng shouted. We are investigating the case to prove your innocence, and hope that you will cooperate. Zheng Ping waved his hand. Han Bin, Tian Li, Zhao Ming, and Li Hui began separate searches. Zheng Ping stared at Lin Chongsheng. Where were you last night? At home. Zheng Ping snorted, lying, a neighbor saw you coming back from outside this morning. Oh, I remembered, I was going to meet a friend out of town early this morning, and I didn't want to go halfway, so I came back. Lin Chongsheng sophistry. Comrade police, my old Lin sees a friend, is he also breaking the law? Where are you going to meet your friends? Zheng Ping asked. In the city. Qingdao Brewery. I do not know what you are talking about. Frankly be lenient, resisting strictly, you will find evidence from your home soon, but it will be too late. Zheng Ping warned. Lin Chongsheng pulled his neck and shouted, I have a clear conscience. After a while, several criminal investigators walked out one after another. Team Zheng, no stolen money was found in the toilet or kitchen. Li Hui said. East House, no abnormalities were found either. Tian Li said. Zhao Ming also shook his head, I didn't find it in the car. Zheng Ping frowned. If no evidence is found, the next investigation will be more difficult. At this time, Han Bin walked out of the living room, wearing gloves and carrying a pair of shoes. Whose shoes are these? Lin Chongsheng was taken aback for a moment before he realized what's wrong with my shoes. Team Zheng, after comparing with the on-site footprint, I am sure that these are the suspect's shoes. Lin Chongsheng, how do you explain? Zheng Ping asked. Lin Chongsheng was a little nervous at first, and then a little disdainful. This kind of Jifang shoes, many people wear them. There are no 180 in our factory. They are all the same shoes. Why should I say that they belong to me? That is, the shoes nowadays are all machine-made, they are all the same. Chen Wan said in help. When the shoes leave the factory, they may be similar, but people have different postures, different foot shapes, walking postures, and habits. After shoes are worn for a period of time, they will form unique wear marks, just like human fingerprints, they are unique. Han Bin firmly said, the set of footprints found by Qingdao Brewery completely match the wear marks of these shoes. You have definitely been to Qingdao Brewery. Lin Chongsheng showed nervousness, bowed his head and said nothing. Our Lao Lin worked in a brewery before and has his footprints. Isn't that normal? Normal. Li Hui sneered, if your family doesn't go through the main entrance, they are all over the wall. Lao Lin, are you saying something? Chen Wan reached out and pulled her husband's sleeve. I was wronged, I don't know anything. After Lin Chongsheng finished speaking, he lowered his head again. Want to convict me with a pair of shoes? Pooh! Team Zeng, do you want to arrest people and bring them back to the bureau for interrogation? Zhao Minjiao was eager to try. No hurry. Zhang Ping shook his head slightly. Footprint identification is different from DNA identification. The latter is machine identification with accurate data as the identification standard. Footprint appraisal is judged on the basis of professional level and experience. There is no clear standard and the appraisal feature system is immature and complete. The identification of footprints in accordance with regulations can only be used as the basis for the direction of the investigation, and shall not be used as evidence for the verdict. Now take the person back. If Lin Chongsheng refuses to explain, he still cannot finalize the case. Only when the stolen property is found can the chain of evidence be completed. Han Bin, are there any other findings? Lin Changshen's shoes have cinders. Cinder. Zhang Ping glanced, and Lin Chongsheng found no coal in his home, and in his impression, Qingdao Brewery did not find coal either. Han Bin analyzed, no stolen goods were found in the home or in the car. Lin Chongsheng should have hidden the stolen goods outside. There is probably coal in that place. Zhang Ping pointed to the car on the side, look at the tires of the car and see if there is any cinder. Li Hui and Zhao Ming ran to check immediately. There are no front tires. There are no rear tires either. That means that there is coal in the place where the stolen goods are hidden, but the amount of coal should not be large. If you have been to a place such as a coal yard, there must be carbon dust on the tires. Zhang Ping analyzed. Han Bin walked along the courtyard and searched, Team Zheng, there are shoe prints here. Zhang Ping ran over and took a look, this shoe print has traces of carbon dust. Han Bin searched for the source of his footprints, and walked westward until he reached the root of the west wall, opposite to another family. Are there any neighbors in the west? The village chief thought for a moment, the old Zhao's house is next to him. They have all gone out to work and no one lives. Move that ladder over, Han Bin said. Upon hearing this, Lin Chongsheng trembled, his legs softened, and he almost sat on the ground. Han Bin went over the yard and arrived at the neighbor's old Zhao's house. After a glance, I found that the corner of the wall was piled with some coal, and the footprints with traces of carbon dust came from there. At the corner of the coal pile, there is a trace of a newly dug. Han Bin found a shovel, dug a few times, and dug out a backpack. When I opened it, it was full of red banknotes, as well as tools for crime, hats, gloves, flashlights, etc. After a rough count, there are more than 300,000 in cash and a check for 800,000, which matches the lost property of the Qingdao Brewery. Lin Chongsheng, the loot has been found, what else do you have to say? Zhang Ping asked sharply. This was dug from the coal pile of the old Zhao's family, and it's not mine. Lin Chongsheng quibbled. Chen Wan, please identify, is this bag yours? Chen Wan looked very nervous, stepped forward cautiously, took a look, and shivered, no, I haven't seen it. There are fingerprints on this flashlight. As long as it is checked, the suspect will naturally be found. It is useless if you don't admit it. Han Bin said. Grab it. Zhang waved his hand. Li Hui and Zhao Ming directly controlled Lin Chongsheng. Let go of my old forest. Chen Wan wanted to stop, but Tian Li stopped. You take good care of your children. Lin Chongsheng sighed. What are you doing? Take it away. Back to the police station. The technical department compared the fingerprints collected on the flashlight with those of Lin Chongsheng, and they were completely consistent. Lin Changshen's suspicion was confirmed. Even if it is zero confession, it can be finalized. Lin Chongsheng also knew that there was no possibility of escape, and the first round of interrogation was frustrated under the conclusive evidence. It can be said that Han Bin was able to solve the case today. Everyone sees and recognizes his credit. You can't get away with one first effort. Han Bin did not go to the interrogation. He ate meat by himself and had to leave some soup for others. Wipe away all the credit, and in the future, who is willing to partner with you? When Han Bin was preparing for his lunch break, a reminder sounded in his mind: congratulations, Police Officer 577,533, successfully solved the first criminal case. Skills proficiency +2, merit value +5. Excuse me, should I redeem merit points for new skills? The police badge prompted. Han Bin did not answer immediately, but after thinking for a long time, exchange. Police Officer 577,533, what new skill do you want to exchange? Micro-expression analysis. Han Bin said. Skills, micro-expression analysis. Function, judge people's true feelings and emotions through subtle facial expressions and body movements. Skills, micro-expression analysis. Entry level, 100 merit points are required. Advanced, requires 500 merit points. Experts need 1000 merit points. Skills proficiency, is there any use? Han Bin asked. When you upgrade your skills, use your skill proficiency to offset your merit. The police badge prompted. I currently only have 7 merit points in total. I want to exchange new skills, but it's not enough. Han Bin said. Payable in installments. Can this happen? Han Bin was surprised. This is the trend of the future society. Han Bin. If I want to redeem the entry-level micro-expression analysis skills, how long do I need to pay in installments? Pay 10 points of merit or skill proficiency every month, and pay 120 points of merit per year. The police badge prompts. Why is it 20 o'clock? Interest. Han Bin. After some thinking, Han Bin decided to study. The micro-expression analysis is very useful. You can distinguish the authenticity of the suspect's testimony through facial expressions and body movements. I want to learn entry-level micro-expression analysis skills. There was a buzzing in Han Bin's brain, and a large amount of knowledge and data about micro-expression analysis was passed into his brain, like an empowerment. Its complexity is far beyond the skill of footprint identification. Han Bin felt that a long time passed before he came back to his senses. Ding dong, congratulations to Constable 577,533 for learning new skills. The police badge prompts. Police 577,533 skills, footprint identification, micro-expression analysis meritorious value, +7 footprint identification, proficiency +3. After learning a new skill, Han Bin wanted to try it, but it didn't work, so he stopped Li Hui. Li Hui, ask you something. What's the matter? Han Bin stared at each other. Who do you think is handsome? Brother Bin, why did you think of asking such a profound question? Just ask casually. Han Bin shrugged his shoulders. Do you still need to ask? Of course I am handsome. Li Hui touched his neck subconsciously. Touching the neck when a person lies is a classic mechanical reaction. Haha. Han Bin smiled and secretly said, this skill is so good. Qingdao branch, not far from the sea. After get off work in the evening, Zhang Ping gave a treat. Several police officers from the second group came to a food stall by the sea for dinner. I ordered a barrel of puree beer, and then some peanuts, pipi shrimp, sea rainbow, scallops, 8 strips, oysters, lamb skewers, etc. Pour the wine and pour the wine. Zhang Ping's face was full of joy, and he greeted everyone, our team showed up today. It took less than 10 hours from reporting to solving the case. We must have a good drink. Today, seeing our team get off work on time, the eyes of the people in the team were green. Li Hui joked. Haha. Everyone laughed. Come on, let's respect Han Bin. If it weren't for him, it would be impossible to lock the identity of the suspects so quickly. Zheng Ping toasted. Don't leave. Han Bin declined politely, this is all the credit of everyone. The team had a good leadership. If you want to respect it, you must also first give you a cup. Okay, don't come to this set of falsehoods. Everyone has credit for solving the case, but your kid is the first. Zheng Ping stretched out his hand and patted Han Bin's arm. Han Bin is not only strong in solving crimes, but also sensible and capable of life. Zheng Ping has a good impression of him. Cheers! Everyone toasted and drank. After solving the case, it was the happiest and most relaxed moment for the police, and everyone was in high spirits. Han Bin, your footprint identification is really amazing. Zhao Ming gave a thumbs up. If it weren't for Han Bin, the suspect was quickly identified, and when Lin Chongsheng transferred the stolen money, it would be difficult to convict him. Practice makes perfect. Han Bin said perfunctorily. Han Bin, I used to go to the police academy, but I have never seen you so good. Li Hui said. That means your eyes are not good. Haha. The crowd also followed suit. Han Bin just came to the criminal police team, and it happened to take this opportunity to get to know everyone. The sea breeze is blowing. When everyone was drinking, chatting, talking and laughing, the relationship between them also became closer. They didn't disperse until they were full of wine and rice. Early the next morning. Tingling bell. A cell phone rang. Han Bin woke up from his sleep and took out his mobile phone from the bedside. Hey! I am Li Hui. Why are you calling so early? Han Bin said in a bad mood. Last night, there was a case in the street park. P.S. The new book issue has an additional investment function. You can invest in a book by reading a novel in 10 minutes. Friends, you can invest. Street park. When Han Bin rushed to the scene, a cordon had been set up around him. Many morning exercisers were watching outside. Zheng Ping, Li Hui and Zhao Ming have arrived at the scene. Han Bin observed his surroundings. Team Zheng, what's the situation on the scene? The victim Zheng Wen, 31 years old, is a teacher. She ran at night in the street park at around 8:30 last night. She was stunned from behind and assaulted. Is this the position? Han Bin was compared to the marked position. Zheng Ping nodded. After being stunned, he dragged him to the small road next to the bushes and committed the assault. He woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and called the police. How is the victim? It's okay, I asked Tian Li to take her back to the game. Did she see the suspect? The suspect should have been hiding by the bushes. After she ran over, she controlled and stunned from behind. She didn't see the suspect's appearance. Han Bin thought for a moment, did you hear any unusual movement? When she runs at night, she wears headphones to listen to songs. Did the suspect leave any evidence? White genetic material and 2 unknown hairs were found on the victim's thigh, which have been sent for identification. Zheng Ping said. Don't you just live together? Li Hui spread his hands. The DNA database is the best to compare. If you can't compare it, you have to find other clues. Zheng Ping told, Li Hui, you can ask the park employees and the morning exercisers. Zhao Ming, you look for the nearby surveillance to see if there is any suspicious person. Han Bin, check the scene to see if there are any new clues. Yes. Everyone promised. Everyone split up and worked all morning. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I returned to the police office for a meeting. Zheng Ping sat on the table. Let's talk about it, there is nothing to discover. On the victim's side, all the questions should be asked, but the mood is still a little unstable. I let her rest in the reception room. Tian Li said. There are no obvious footprints at the crime scene, and there are no obvious signs of climbing around the park. Han Bin found no clues. What about monitoring? The front and back doors of the park are monitored, and there are a lot of people coming in and out. It is very difficult to check the identity one by one. I have copied the monitoring and can check it at any time. Zhao Ming shook the hard drive in his hand. Li Hui, how is your place? Team Zeng, most of the park employees were off work at night. There were only 2 doormen, and none of them found anything unusual. Li Hui said. Do the morning exercisers have any clues? It's not a group of people doing morning exercises and night running. Li Hui smiled bitterly. That is to say, there is no new clue in the case. Zheng Ping frowned and took out a box of yuxi to distribute to everyone. Han Bin lit a cigarette and took a sip. Is there any news from the trace check? There is a result of the DNA comparison, so there is no need to mess around. Tian Li, go to the scar inspection room and ask. Before long, Tian Li returned, followed by a man in glasses and a white coat. Yeah, glasses, rare, finally willing to leave the laboratory. Zheng Ping smiled. The man put his glasses on his fingers and said, Team Zeng, I have specially reported the progress of the case to you. If you want to say so, I will leave. Come back, I'm joking with you. The man nicknamed Glasses, Lu Wen, is a technician in the scar inspection room and one of the few short-sighted people in the police station. The suspect left few evidences at the scene, only white genetic material and 2 hairs were collected, of which the genetic material had been extracted and sent to the DNA database for comparison. Han Bin flicked the soot. How did the suspect get stunned? Ether. Zheng Ping frowned. Diethyl ether is regulated. Where did he get it? That's your job. Reuben shrugged. Show a look that has nothing to do with me. Has no valid fingerprints of the suspect been collected? Han Bin asked. No. I asked the victim. When she was stunned, she felt that the suspect should be wearing gloves. As for the rest, she didn't know about it. Tian Li said. Zheng Ping handed Lu Wen a cigarette. How soon will the DNA comparison result come out? This is hard to say. It depends on luck, and it may not be successful. Reuben declined the cigarette. Thank you, I won't. With news, let me know as soon as possible. Zheng Ping said. Okay. Lu Wen responded and left the second group office. Zheng Ping pinched out the cigarette butt. Everyone has already understood the progress and clues of the case. If you have any ideas, you can talk about it. Diethyl ether is a contraband and cannot be bought in general pharmacies. You can use the source of diethyl ether as the direction of investigation. Tian Li made suggestions. Zhao Ming went on to say, you can continue to investigate and monitor people who appeared during the time of the crime and those who met the conditions for committing the crime are all suspected. Visit the people who exercised at night to see if there are any witnesses and new clues. Li Hui added. Zheng Ping nodded, it's a good summary. The current investigative direction really starts from these 3 points. If there are no other problems, we will start to arrange the task. Well, you are here waiting for us. Li Hui smiled bitterly. I will personally investigate the line where the ether came from. Zheng Ping glanced at the crowd. You 4 check the surveillance during the day, and go to the street park at night to investigate and visit the people. Li Hui frowned. This task is too heavy. What kind of troubleshooting method? The time of the crime was around 8:30 last night. After this time period, all the men who left the park were suspected of committing the crime, and they were all listed as investigation targets. Zheng Ping said. Team Zeng, I want to talk to the victim and see if there are any other clues. Han Bin said. Can. Zheng Ping exhorted, the victim's mood has not recovered, let Tian Li accompany him. Yes. Qingdao branch, reception room. Crack. The door rang. Tian Li and Han Bin entered the reception room. Sitting on the sofa was an intellectual woman with a dignified appearance and well-proportioned figure, with tears on her face. Ms. Zheng. Zheng Wen raised her head, looking like Tian Li and Han Bin, and nodded slightly. Ms. Zheng, this is a police officer from the criminal investigation team. He wants to ask you some questions. Tian Li gave an introduction. What is the problem? Han Bin sat across from the sofa. Mr. Zheng, do you often go to the street art park to exercise? Yes. Do you usually go alone or with friends? Not sure. Have you been followed or spied on when you ran at night before? No. Han Bin continued to ask, if you think about it, do you have any other clues? No, there are no other clues. Zheng Wen shook her head. According to the micro-expression analysis, the blunt repetitive question is a typical lie. Han Bin frowned. If the victim concealed clues, it would be very detrimental to the investigation. Ms. Zheng, do you have new clues that you didn't tell the police? I know, I told the police. Zheng Wen leaned back and put her arms around her chest. This is a typical defense resistance mentality. Han Bin is more certain. Zheng Wen concealed the clue. I know that this incident has hurt you a lot. Maybe you don't want to recall it again, but if you hide the clues, you won't be able to catch the suspect, and he will hurt other people. Zheng Wen closed her eyes, her expression changed again and again. He took it away, my inner clothes. At 8 o'clock in the evening, the back door of the street park. Bah, this pervert. Li Hui sipped. Han Bin shrank his neck back, pay attention to drool. You said Zheng Wen actually concealed such important evidence. Li Hui hated iron and steel. This incident was a big blow to her. Maybe she didn't pay attention to it at the time, and it was difficult to tell her afterwards. There are people in the park. Han Bin and Li Hui, holding a stack of photos in their hands, stood at the gate of the park to investigate. After processing by the technical department, some frontal photos of the investigated objects have been obtained. More images are still being processed. It is estimated that some images are difficult to see even after processing. This is still because there are lights next to the entrance of the park, which can clearly see people entering and exiting, otherwise, the pictures taken by the surveillance will be more blurred. When they see the person in the photo, they will stop, ask about it, and record the name, identity, phone number, and fingerprint. Even if it is not the person in the photo, the two will routinely ask whether they found anything unusual on the night of the incident. Although this job is not tiring, it is a tedious job. Xiaoming and Tian Li were at the front door, drawing gourds in the same way. Several days in a row. All four of them were investigating in the street center park and found out more than 20 men who had time to commit crimes. Some men have clear images but have not been to the park these days. You can also find their information on the internet of the public security system. It was another afternoon, and Han Bin was lying in the office for a morning break. Papa! There was a clap. Zheng Ping greeted everyone, come here and gather. Team Zheng are going to the street center park to investigate again. Li Hui said in a low tone. No more investigation today. Why? The DNA comparison result is out. Zheng Ping took out a document from his bag. Does the database compare? Han Bin asked in surprise. Compared. This is the suspect's information. Zheng Ping said, turning on the projector and loading the suspect's information. Name, Chen Jun. Nationality, Han. Age, 28 years old. Height, 177 centimeters. Work, Kindeo Technology Company. Family status, unmarried. Address, Kindeo City, Yuxin Road, Jiangxin Community, 6703. Team Zheng, what are you waiting for? Let's catch someone. Xiaoming eagerly fists. A group of people drove to Jiangxin Community. Pretending to be a property company, cheated to open the door. The suspect Chen Jun was successfully controlled. Chen Jun is a standard otaku. The house is messy. The house is rented. He lives alone. Han Bin and others searched carefully and found no tools for committing the crime. They first took the person back to the Public Security Bureau. In order to solve the case as soon as possible, Zheng Ping decided to arraign him overnight. Qingdao Branch, Interrogation Room. The suspect sat in the interrogation chair, and Han Bin and Li Hui were in charge of the interrogation. Zheng Ping, Tian Li and Zhao Ming were in the observation room next to them, listening through one-way glass. Name, age, hometown. Han Bin began to ask as usual. Chen Jun, 28 years old, from Qingdao City. Do you know why you are called? Li Hui asked. No, I don't know. Chen Jun shook his head. We suspect that you are suspected of being involved in a case. We hope you will cooperate with the investigation. How is it possible? I have never done anything like this before. Chen Jun looked shocked. Last Monday, the night of June 18th, where were you? Li Hui said. I can't remember. Think about it. Chen Jun recalled for a moment. I am at home. Can anyone prove it? I live alone. In other words, no one can prove that you didn't leave the house that night. Li Hui asked back. Comrade police, I was really wronged. Chen Jun shouted. Every suspect who entered this room said he was wronged. It is not that his voice is loud to prove his innocence. I was wronged. Then I ask you, why did your white genetic material appear at the crime scene? Han Bin asked. Where is the scene you said? Street Heart Park. I have never been to that park at all. Li Hui hummed, don't pretend, if you haven't been to the scene, how can you have your white genetic material? This thing can't be faked. I was really wronged, there must be something wrong with it, Chen Jun shouted. Han Bin shook his head slightly, white genetic material is evidence that can be convicted. If you can't explain why your genetic material appeared at the scene of the crime, no one can help you. I really don't know. Chen Jun cried anxiously. An hour later, Han Bin and Li Hui left the interrogation room. Zheng Ping is straight to the point. How was your inquiry? The suspect has no alibi. Any new clues? The suspect's mouth is tight, just saying that he doesn't know. Li Hui sighed. The DNA comparison has been successful, and it's useless if he doesn't admit it. Zhao Ming said. Han Bin thought about it seriously. Team Zheng, I think this case has some doubts. What's the doubt? This Chen Jun doesn't seem to be lying. During the interrogation, Han Bin used the micro-expression analysis method to observe Chen Jun's every move and found that Chen Jun was frightened and afraid, but there was no sign of lying. This is not what a murderer should have. Zheng Ping was a little surprised. Is there any evidence? Han Bin shook his head. This is all his analysis. Han Bin, we are the police, what we pay attention to is evidence. Zheng Ping said earnestly, as long as Chen Jun does not have an alibi within the time of the incident, and cannot explain why his genetic material appeared on the scene, his suspicion cannot be removed. Yes. Okay, everyone is tired today, so let's get here first, and then the trial tomorrow. Back home, Han Bin still thought about the case. Micro-expression analysis error? There is still another culprit. With this question in mind, Han Bin slowly fell asleep. The next morning. Huayuan Community, Room 1201. After Han Bin got up, he washed a lot, put on clean clothes, and went downstairs for breakfast. Han Bin's parents also live in this building, room 601. Han Bin's father is Han Weidong, who is also a policeman and works in Guang'an Police Station. His mother, Wang Huifeng, retires at home. Han Bin entered the house and saw his father sitting at the coffee table drinking tea and reading the newspaper. Dad, haven't you seen enough at the police station? Han Bin smiled. What do you guys know? Live and learn. I am studying national policies and actively responding to national calls. Where is my mother? Go to the vegetable market to buy vegetables. What do you have for breakfast? Han Bin yawned. Go wash your hands, I'll serve you food. I still have this treatment. Han Bin was flattered. Your mother said, you are busy with the work of the criminal police, let me, the policeman, support your work more. Han Weidong hummed. Han Bin laughed, Mom still has a high level of consciousness. Show off. Han Bin washed his hands and went to the restaurant. On the table were a plate of egg fried rice, a bowl of polenta, and a small plate of pickles and sauce beef. The food is good. Han Bin was also a little hungry, and took 2 bites of egg fried rice, as if remembering something. Dad, was this rice left over yesterday? The overnight rice has less moisture and tastes better when fried. Han Weidong also cooks in his spare time. Han Bin thoughtfully, overnight? Not the same day. Eat slowly, there is still in the pot. Han Weidong took a word and went back to the living room to read the newspaper. Han Bin hurried to the branch with a few pieces of beef and egg fried rice, and ignored the polenta. He has a speculation, perhaps, can explain why the suspect's genetic material appeared at the crime scene. Qingdao branch, interrogation room. Chen Jun sat in the interrogation chair with dark circles under his eyes, a little awkward. Han Bin and Li Hui are still in charge of the interrogation, with a video recorder on the table. Chen Jun, staying in the detention center all night, did you think of new clues? Han Bin asked. I didn't do anything. I was really at home on the night of June 18th. You must believe me. Han Bin changed the question, where are you on the night of June 17? Chen Jun was taken aback for a moment, and shook his head, I can't remember. If you want to get rid of the suspicion, you can cooperate with our investigation. I think about it. Chen Jun muttered, recalling for a moment, I was that night. The more Chen Jun said, the smaller his voice became, and he couldn't hear the others clearly. Chen Jun, when is it all, are you still squatting in jail for the rest of your life? Han Bin scolded. No, no, I said. Chen Jun swallowed, I went to do my hair on the night of June 17. Doing hair, what do you do as a man? Halfway through the question, Li Hui came to his senses, did you go to see Sister Xiao? Okay, like. Chen Jun hesitated. Think clearly, what I want is a clear answer. Chen Jun lowered his head, yes, I went to that place. You know you are embarrassed in that kind of place. Li Hui snorted. I know I was wrong, I shouldn't go to that kind of place, but I really didn't force anyone, really didn't. Chen Jun shouted. Address. It's in the Yindu foot bath shop on Huiwen Road. What's the name of the woman who made you hair? Jasmine. Full name? I don't know. It's the first time I went, and I knew her name was Jasmine. If you want to get rid of suspicion, just think about it. The more clues you provide, the more accurate the direction of our investigation. Han Bin warned. Yes, yes. Out of the interrogation room. Li Hui asked, Binzi, do you really believe that he is innocent? First, his reaction was not like a murderer. Second, apart from Chen Jun's genetic material, there was no evidence that Chen Jun was related to this case, and his family did not search for tools of crime and suspects. Article. The murderer committed the case on June 18. You ask him where he was on June 17, what's the use? Li Hui was puzzled. It's still not right now, you have to go to the Yindu foot bath shop first. Han Bin touched his chin, everything was just his guess. This foot bath shop involves the emperor, should you call someone from the security brigade? Han Bin hesitated, let's contact the local police station. Huiwen Road is the jurisdiction of Guang'an Police Station, and Han Weidong is the director of Guang'an Police Station. Han Bin made a phone call and briefly described the situation. Han Weidong assigned several police officers to assist them to investigate the Yindu foot bath shop at night. Catch the thief and catch the stolen goods. If you go during the day, it is meaningless. At 12 o'clock in the evening, Yinda foot bath shop. Several police officers entered the foot bath shop first and controlled the staff of the foot bath shop, which happened to be caught. Han Bin and Li Hui are criminal police officers, and they are not in charge of sweeping the emperor. After entering the foot bath shop, Han Bin greeted a leading policeman, "Brother Kui, thank you for your hard work. Kui Hao is the sergeant of Guang'an Police Station. He will lead the team on this mission of sweeping the emperor." "Binzi, what are you polite to me? This is our duty." Han Bin glanced at the men and women squatting on the ground. "Who is Jasmine?" "Me." A woman responded softly. "Stand up. Comrade police, I just came here, and I picked it up for the first time." Jasmine is not very old, she seems to be in her 20s, with heavy makeup, and her actual age is probably younger. Han Bin looked at the other party. "We are from the criminal police team and need your assistance in investigating a case." "Ah, detective, I didn't commit a crime." Jasmine took a step back, showing a look of surprise. Li Hui took out a photo. "Do you know him?" "For this we are criminal police. Sweeping the emperor is not under our control, but you must dare to conceal the evidence and punish both crimes." "I remember him," Jasmine said. Han Bin was a little surprised. "I just glanced at it, can I be sure?" "He's fast," Jasmine said. "Say clearly." "It took him less than 5 minutes from entering the house to leaving the house." "Puff." Li Hui laughed out. "So fast." "So, I'm quite impressed." Jasmine blushed. "Who is the person in charge of the foot bath shop?" Han Bin shouted. "I am." A man with a tattoo on his arm stood up. Han Bin glanced at the other person. "Is there any surveillance in the room?" "Not in the house, there is one on the front door and the back door," the tattooed man said. "Call me the surveillance on June 17 and June 18th. "Good," the tattooed man responded. After a while, the tattooed man called out the surveillance on the evening of June 17 and, as expected, he found Chen Jun's figure. It was confirmed that he had indeed been to the foot bath shop. "Binzi, what's the use of only the 17th surveillance?" Li Hui leaned over. Han Bin ignored him and asked Jasmine on the side, "Where did you throw your garbage?" "There is a trash can in the back. We all throw it there. Someone will clean it the next day." "Can you see the back door monitoring?" "Can." "Tune." The tattooed man started to adjust the back door monitoring. From the night of June 17, there was no abnormality. At 3 o'clock in the morning on June 18, people came out of the back door of the foot bath shop and threw a few garbage bags into the trash can at the back door. At 5 o'clock in the morning on June 18, a man entered the back alley, approached the trash can, put his hand into the bucket, and then walked away quickly. "Stop!" Han Bin stretched out his hand and pointed to the monitor screen. "Li Hui, what do you say this person does?" Li Hui took a look and guessed, it should be throwing away garbage. "You can see clearly, this man is wearing gloves. Is he picking things?" Li Hui suddenly woke up. "I see, you think what he picked from the trash can was Chen Jun's white genetic material. This is just my guess, there is no evidence yet." Li Hui moved the mouse and watched the video several times. "I really want to meet this man wearing gloves and picking up things from the trash can." "Where?" "I remember, in the video surveillance of Street Center Park, he appeared during the time of the crime, but he has never been to Street Center Park again. We haven't found his identity yet," Li Hui said. Han Bin took a closer look and was indeed familiar. This person may have obtained Chen Jun's white genetic material and have been to the crime scene. Isn't it a coincidence? Li Hui analyzed. "Do you suspect that he is the real suspect in this case? Go back to the technical team and see if the video can be handled clearly," Han Bin said. "Brother Bin, it's late at night. The technical team has already got off work. You brought the video back to the game, and no one handled it. Li Hui poked his watch with his finger. Han Bin showed a wry smile. Yes, wait until tomorrow. The next morning, Han Bin went to the police early in the morning and handed the backup of the video to the technical team for processing. Back in the office room, I saw Zheng Ping eating breakfast on the table, fried dough sticks, tea eggs, tofu brains, and pickles. They looked very rich. Team Zheng. Han Bin, do you want something? Zheng Ping said politely. I have already eaten. Zheng Ping asked while eating, how did you investigate with Li Hui yesterday? I am preparing to report to you. Han Bin took out a screenshot of the video. Chen Jun, on the night of June 17, I have been to the Yinda foot bath shop. This can't be used as an alibi. The time for the crime was the evening of June 18. Here's another photo from the early morning of June 18th. Han Bin said. Zheng Ping took a look and immediately figured it out. You suspect that someone has picked up Chen Jun's genetic material and deliberately put it on the crime scene. This man wearing gloves, leaving from the back door of Street Hart Park at 9 p.m. on June 18. This is a video screenshot. Han Bin put another photo on the table. Zheng Ping put the three photos together and touched his chin. I'm really alone, it's kind of interesting. Han Bin pointed to the photo. I think this man wearing gloves is very suspicious. This can only show that he is suspicious. If he wants to conclude the case, he has to show direct evidence. Team Zheng, 2 pubic hairs were also found at the scene of the crime. I suggest DNA testing for those 2 hairs. The hair may not belong to the suspect or the victim, and the hair may not necessarily be able to extract biological samples. The hair is so small that it is difficult to find at night. Even if it falls, the suspect will not notice it. In a sense, it is more accurate than DNA. Han Bin said. Zheng Ping hesitated for a moment. Okay, I will apply. Zheng team is wise. Han Bin smiled. Don't shoot me flattering. Zheng Ping scolded with a smile. Give you and Li Hui a task to find out the identity of the suspect wearing gloves, and get his biological inspection materials. Yes. The technical team processed the video of the suspect in high definition, intercepted a clear frontal photo, and compared it in the database. After checking for half a day, the suspect's identity was finally found. Name, Li Fifan. Nationality, Han. Age, 25 years old. Height, 174 cm. Work, car sales. Family status, unmarried. Address, Qingdao City, Huagong Road, Rongzhen Community, 42,003. Why don't you just summon him, pretend to ask routinely, and get his biological inspection materials? Li Hui suggested. Summoned to the police station, you may be stunned. Han Bin said. Then what do you say? Follow him and find a way to obtain biological inspection materials. Hey, your kid still has this habit. Li Hui smiled. The place where Li Fifan lives is not far from the Four's shop, and it is only 3 stops by bus. In order to avoid being spotted by tracking, the 2 of them split into 2 sections, with Han Bin following the first half and Li Hui following the second half. From near the Rongzhen community, Han Bin began to follow Li Fifan. Li Fifan dressed up very vigorously and took care of his hair confidently. 1 or 2 meters away, he could smell a strong smell of hair gel. After he arrived at the bus stop, he bought a pancake and a cup of soy milk. Han Bin pretended to look at the phone, and then glanced at it, so as not to arouse the other's alarm. The bus came, and the 2 got on the bus one after another. After Li Fifan got in the car, his eyes swept from time to some young women in fashionable clothes. At the 3rd stop, Li Fifan got off the car, but Han Bin didn't get off the car. In order not to alert the other party, he would take another stop. Li Hui will be responsible for the following follow-up. And their goal is the soy milk cup and straw in Li Fifan's hand. Han Bin took more than 1 stop, got off the bus, rushed to the vicinity of the Four's shop, and met with Li Hui. A long way away, Han Bin saw Li Hui standing beside the trash can and smoking. How about? Li Hui smiled, carrying a plastic bag and shaking it, which contained a plastic cup and straw. Good job. The two immediately returned to the police station and sent the plastic cup and straw to the technical team for inspection. Targeted comparison is much faster. The next day, in the morning, Zheng Ping took the inspection report and returned to the office. Papa! Zheng Ping slapped his hands. Everyone, let go of your work and have a meeting. Team Zheng, did the DNA comparison result come out? It's coming out. Zheng Ping handed the inspection report to everyone. One of the pubic eye hairs was extracted with DNA samples, and after some comparisons, it was consistent with Li Feifan's DNA. So, Li Feifan's suspicion is very high. He happened to be in the street park at the time of the crime. Tian Li said. More importantly, he may have obtained Chen Jun's white genetic material in an attempt to remove his suspicion by framing Chen Jun. Han Bin added. Zheng Ping smiled. Han Bin, your kid has done a good job again. Thanks to your support. This case has been delayed for a long time. We must understand it as soon as possible, otherwise, the suspect will most likely deal with the criminal tool. Team Zheng, apply for a search warrant. Tian Li, apply for a search warrant and an arrest warrant, and other people will follow me to arbitrate. Zheng Ping ordered. Yes. Rongzin Community, Li Feifan's home. Li Feifan took a rest today and slept until 9 o'clock in the morning. He still didn't bother to get up, ate a few biscuits, and lay on the bed and played on the phone. At noon, take out early. Boom boom boom. A knock on the door sounded. Who is it? I'm downstairs, your toilet is leaking, and our roof is overcast. A man responded. No, there is no water in our toilet. Li Feifan said. Don't believe me, follow me downstairs and have a look. Crack. Li Feifan opened the door, before speaking. Several men rushed in. The leader was a middle-aged man who showed his police officer ID. We are the police. What are you doing at my house? We suspect that you are related to a case. This is a search warrant. Han Bin said. Li Feifan looked a little innocent. Is there any misunderstanding here? We are here to investigate this time to restore your innocence. I hope you can cooperate. Zheng Ping waved his hand. Search, be careful. I haven't done anything, how could it be related to this kind of case? Li Feifan defended. Zheng Ping stared at each other. Li Feifan, where were you on the night of June 18th? After so long, I can't remember. Then let me remind you, you went to the street park. Oh, I remember. Some time ago, I heard that there was a case in Street Heart Park. Li Feifan seemed to recall, however, there are more people going to the street park, which does not mean that I am related to the case. We were at the scene and found your DNA sample. Zheng Ping said. Li Feifan showed a surprised look. This is impossible. Hee, don't be overconfident. Zheng Ping smiled, and said no more. Judging from the current case, Li Feifan has a certain degree of anti-reconnaissance ability. If he wants to convict him, he must rely on evidence. After a while, Tian Li came over. The master bedroom did not find any tools of crime. Zhao Ming also shook his head. There is no bathroom either. Li Hui said, there is no kitchen either. Hearing this, Li Feifan smiled. Let me just say it, I have nothing to do with this case, I am innocent. Han Bin snorted, this sentence, you said it earlier. Zheng Ping raised his chin. Han Bin, what did you find over there? Han Bin did not answer directly, instead looking at Li Feifan, whose inner clothes on the balcony belonged to mine. Han Bin smiled, are you wearing a female model? It's my girlfriend. Li Feifan's face turned a little ugly. In your room, you can't find a feminine thing except for a women's underwear. Who are you fooling around? Tian Li took a photo and sent it to the victim for identification. After a while, Tian Li received a reply. Team Zeng, this inner shirt is the same style that the victim wore that day. What does this mean? There is more than one inner garment of the same style. Li Fifan shouted. Li Hui walked over, took it off while wearing his gloves, and sniffed. It's original, it's hung up without washing. Do you still have this hobby? Han Bin said with a pun, jokingly. Catch it back. Zheng Ping waved his hand. As long as there is the victim's biological material on his inner jacket, the evidence chain is sufficient. Qingdao City Branch, Interrogation Room. Li Fifan sat in the interrogation chair and looked around with some anxiety. Han Bin and Zheng Ping are in charge of the interrogation, with the camera next to them. Name, age, hometown. Li Fifan, 25 years old, Qingdao City. Li Fifan, where were you on the night of June 18th? After I have eaten, I will go for a walk in the street park. Li Fifan said. Have you seen the victim? No. Have you been to the crime scene? No. The scene, why did you leave your white genetic material? Han Bin said. Li Fifan looked determined. Impossible, the white genetic material is not mine. Why are you so sure? Because I haven't done it. How do you explain the inner clothes you found at home? Han Bin asked. I picked it up. Don't you say you haven't been to the crime scene? Li Fifan hesitated for a moment. I picked it up near the entrance of the park. The suspect may have left it there. Li Fifan, you are overconfident. We are indeed at the crime scene and found your biometrics, which can prove that you have been to the crime scene. You don't have to deceive me. I have never been to a crime scene, and there won't be my white genetic material there. Biological inspection materials do not only refer to white genetic material. Han Bin said. What do you mean? We found your pubic hair at the crime scene. Li Fifan's face turned pale in an instant. Our chain of evidence is very sufficient, and your sophistry is useless. Han Bin got up, took a few photos and put them in front of Li Fifan. At 5 o'clock in the morning on June 18th, you went to the Yinda foot bath shop and picked up a hapless white genetic material. At around 8 o'clock in the evening, you went to the street park and there was a video of you at the door. After finishing the case, you put the white genetic material you picked up on the victim in an attempt to frame it to others. Unfortunately, it was too dark. You didn't notice that your hair fell on the scene. Li Fifan stared at a few photos and clenched his fists tightly. Han Bin's tone was severe. Li Fifan, be lenient in frankness, and strict in resistance. You can only fight for lenient and large sentences if you tell the truth. The interrogation lasted for another 2 hours before Li Fifan could not bear the pressure and admitted all the crimes. At the same time, he explained the location where the criminal tool was hidden and the fact that the white genetic material was picked up from the foot bath shop to frame Chen Jun. Knowing that the case was solved, the suspect was caught. The victim, Zheng Wen, went to the police station to express gratitude to Han Bin and the team members. Criminal Investigation Team 3, Office 2. Han Bin, you guys can do it, you have solved another tricky case. Zheng Ping stretched out his hand and patted Han Bin on the shoulder. It's everyone's credit. Don't be humble, as a reward, I will give you a day off tomorrow and go back and have a good rest. Really? Han Bin said. When am I not counting? Zheng Pinghu said with a face. The other team members showed envy. The detective is very busy, and when there is a case, he is busy solving the case. The case is over, and it's not easy. In the bureau, find the leaders to sign and stamp, the brigade chapter, the bureau chapter, various chapters, criminal technology room, legal system, and various reminders. Print and fill in the monthly report. The procuratorate will take out the investigation file or arrest file, and issue the custody card. Go to the court to get the verdict. Han Bin had a rest, and these things were up to the other team members. No way, who has a strong ability to solve crimes. When he got home in the evening, Han Bin turned on the TV and cast a movie to watch. On the table were a plate of peanuts, a plate of pig ears, a plate of cucumbers, and 2 bottles of beer. Han Bin enjoys this kind of leisure time very much. I don't have to go to work tomorrow, but have a drink tonight and a good sleep. Ding dong, congratulations to Constable 577,533 for successfully solving the case. A warning badge sounded in Han Bin's mind. Skills proficiency +2, merit +7. Get the gratitude of the victim, and get an extra gift package. What big gift package? Life skills, cooking category, Shandong cuisine level, intermediate. There was a buzz in Han Bin's mind, and a large amount of knowledge and experience about cooking entered his mind. Hey, I'm actually a chef! Han Bin said in surprise. The chef level is divided into 5 levels: elementary, intermediate, advanced, technician, and senior technician. Generally, students who graduate from a chef school should be at the intermediate level and have an intermediate level certificate. With the level of an intermediate chef, Han Bin is already very happy. In the future, he can cook with his family when he has time, and he can show his hand when he comes to the guests. The next morning, Han Bin went shopping early in the morning, preparing to cook a big meal for his parents at noon. Han Bin has been very busy at work and didn't have much time to spend time with his parents. He just took advantage of today's rest, and learned how to cook, so he respected his parents. Shandong cuisine is one of the 8 major cuisines in China and it is the cuisine with the longest history, rich techniques, and most powerful skills. There are many classic dishes in Shandong cuisine. The common ones are mushy pork, sweet and sour carp, roasted sea cucumber with green onion, and vinegar cabbage. Han Bin chose these 4 dishes for lunch today. Han Bin took the vegetables he bought and went directly to his parents' house. Han Bin's mother, Wang Huifeng, looked surprised. Son, what are you doing with so many vegetables? I have a rest today, I have time, and I will make you a delicious meal. Today is the weekend. Han Weidong is also resting at home, curiously asked, when did you learn to cook? When I was in school, I rented an apartment outside and often cooked and ate myself. It's for your former little girlfriend, let's cook and eat. Han Weidong quipped. Han Bin scowled. Dad, why do you always mention this? That is, our son is so handsome, he will definitely find a better one in the future. Wang Huifeng stared blankly. I'm going to cook. Han Bin put on his apron. Son, do you want mom to help? No. Han Bin went directly into the kitchen. Yes, today I will wait to eat ready-made. Wang Huifeng was in a good mood. Han Weidong was still a little distrustful of his son's cooking skills, and winked at his wife. You really don't go in and see. In the kitchen, Han Bin washes and cuts vegetables first, takes care of all the ingredients, removes the fishy line, and marinates the meat and fish in advance. Afterwards, brush the pot on the fire, heat the pot with cool oil, and fry a piece of mushy meat first. Then came sweet and sour carp, roasted sea cucumber with green onion, and vinegar cabbage. Han Weidong will taste every dish brought out of the kitchen. At the beginning, he was skeptical, and the food came to his mouth with a look of surprise. Hey, this mushy meat is not bad. Han Weidong was a little surprised. Really, the cooking skills are almost catching up with me. Wang Huifeng praised. This kid is still hiding a hand, it took so long to reveal it, I don't even know about it as a father. The sweet and sour carp was served, and just looking at the shape and smelling the taste, it felt very good. It's a bit like a restaurant chef. Han Weidong smiled, holding a piece of chopsticks. Well, don't tell me, this juice is delicious. I'll try it. Wang Huifeng also sandwiched a piece of fish. Well, does your son's cooking skills surpass you? Han Weidong smiled. The sweet and sour carp dish is more troublesome and oily. Wang Huifeng rarely cooks it at home. Don't say it too early, let's take a look at the next dish. The sea cucumber is not handled well, and the smell is very big. Wang Huifeng was not convinced. She has cooked for a lifetime, but she doesn't want to be compared to her son who cooks for the first time. Although Han Bin is cooking for the first time, his cooking skills seem to be carved in his head. As seafood, the fishy smell of sea cucumbers is unavoidable. It is important to use green onions to remove the fishy smell. When frying the shallot oil, be sure to use warm fire to let the aroma of the green onions slowly penetrate into the oil. After the green onions turn yellow, fish out. Then add the scallions and stir fry with the sea cucumber, thicken and collect the juice. The sea cucumber with green onion was served in the pot, and Wang Huifeng took a bite and stopped talking. Han Weidong took a bite, showing a look of aftertaste, and squeezed his eyes. How is it? Ah, it's not bad. Haha. Han Weidong smiled, and said in his heart, it's more than good, he can open a small restaurant. Of course, Han Bin is cooking for the first time after all. The cooking speed and heat control are still somewhat different from the restaurant chef. The last vinegar cabbage was served, and the family began to eat. Parents, how is the cooking done? Han Bin did not know how to cook for the first time. Yes, especially this scallion roasted sea cucumber, which is very fresh. Han Weidong was full of praise. Son, or you can switch to being a chef. This talent for cooking is definitely inherited from mom. Haha. Han Bin laughed. His cooking skills are still rewarded by solving crimes, so naturally he can't give up everything. It's rare for a family to have lunch together, and it's fun to have a meal while chatting. Having dinner with his parents, Han Bin has a good appetite. A family of 3 eats all the dishes on the table cleanly. From an objective point of view, it proved Han Bin's cooking skills. Ding dong! In Han Bin's mind, the warning sound of the police badge sounded, Police Officer 577,533, the food has been approved by relatives, and the cooking proficiency is +3. I am a criminal police officer, what's the use of learning life skills? Police are also human beings. They need a combination of work and rest in order to be physically and mentally healthy and serve the people better, the police badge reminded. Han Bin thinks about it, and thinks that there is some truth. If you are poor, you will be alone. If you are rich, you will benefit the world. Only if you arrange your own life can you have an upright heart and better serve the people. After the meal, Han Bin and his father made a pot of tea, ready to drink some tea and digest. Tingling bell. A cell phone rang. Han Bin saw that Zheng Ping was calling, Team Zheng. Han Bin, you kid, you can only rest for half a day today. Is the case filed? I'll send you an address and come to the scene quickly. Yes. Hanging up the phone, Han Weidong couldn't help asking, what's the matter? Appeared. Go, pay attention to safety. Han Weidong exhorted. Son, didn't you rest today, why did you leave again? Wang Huifeng walked out of the kitchen. There is a case, I have to rush over now. Bang! The door closed, and Wang Huifeng sighed, look, I'm busier than your director. When I was young, it was not the same. Han Weidong smiled. Huaqui District. This is an old community, low-rise small slab building, located near the city center, belonging to the school district. The price is not low. The crime scene was in room 201 of a unit. Han Bin was a little surprised. There was no cordon at the door and no policeman on duty. As soon as he reached the second floor, the door opened and Li Hui showed his head. Binzi, come in. What is the case, so mysterious? Kidnapping. Han Bin nodded. Generally speaking, kidnapping cases should be investigated at a low level, so as not to stimulate the kidnappers and tear up votes. Han Bin put on the shoe covers and entered room 201. There are a lot of people in the room, except for Zhang Ping, Tian Li, and Zhao Ming. There are also people from the technical team monitoring the phone. A strange middle-aged man, sitting on the sofa with a cell phone on the coffee table in front of him, looked anxious, as if waiting for something. Han Bin observed, Team Zheng, what's the situation? The victim is 13 years old and a middle school student. Li Hui pointed to the strange man, this is the victim's father, Cao Hua. He received a text message at noon today saying that his son had been kidnapped. He hurried home and found the door was open, the table in the living room was upside down, and the chair was upside down, so he called the police. Has the source of the phone been found? It's the victim's cell phone. Any clues to the kidnappers? Han Bin said. Li Hui took the stubborn words, according to our estimation, the kidnapper should be a male, about 1.8 meters tall. Have you found the surveillance? No, this is an old community, not even a property company, and no monitoring installed. Li Hui shook his head. How do you know the height of the kidnapper? Han Bin asked. Look, there are 2 sets of shoe prints beside the table. Tian Li pointed to the corner of the living room. Han Bin turned his head and looked. Juice was spilled next to the table. 2 sets of footprints of different shades were stamped on the ground. One set of footprints was clearer and the other set was a little fuzzy. Li Hui walked over and pointed to the shoe print on the ground. From the texture of the sole, it should be a pair of leather shoes, size 44. From the length of the feet, it can be inferred that his height is about 180. After finishing talking, Li Hui spread his hands, as if saying, Look, you are not the only one who can identify with the trail. I can do it too. Zhang Ping ignored Li Hui and turned to look at Han Bin, who was aside. What do you think? Han Bin walked over and carefully observed the 2 sets of shoe prints. Have you found traces of the kidnappers? No. Did you determine the physical characteristics of the kidnapper as a male with a height of about 180? Women don't wear this style of leather shoes. Li Hui shrugged. Han Bin got up and shook his head. The direction of investigation is wrong. What's wrong? The height of the kidnapper is not about 1.8 meters, but about 1.6 meters. Impossible, you are taking a good look. Can a 1-meter 6th person wear size 44 leather shoes? Li Hui questioned. Han Bin smiled and explained, this is a very clumsy disguise. Small feet wear big shoes. Little feet wear big shoes. Li Hui muttered, how do you tell? First, heavy heels often appear on the heel of the shoe print. Second, the big toe is pressed tightly against the front edge of the shoe print, and the other 4 toes are heavily pressed. Third, the heel is heavily pressed on the shoe print. The lower edge of the arch is clearly reflected. So, our investigation direction is completely wrong. Tian Li spread his hands. Han Bin stretched out his hand and patted Li Hui on the shoulder. Little young man, I still owe it to fire. If the kidnapper's height is only about 1.6 meters, not much taller than the victim, the possibility of kidnapping is unlikely, and it's more like kidnapping. Zhao Ming analyzed. Zhang Ping frowned, recheck.